Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we welcome all of you to today's Bhagavad Gita class. We are continuing with chapter number 9, Bhagavad Gita as it is, the most confidential knowledge. And we start with verse number 10. Mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Can someone read the purport, please?
All right.
Yes.
It is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from all the activities of the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the supreme will and the background of this material manifestation, but the management is being conducted by material nature. Krishna also states in Bhagavad Gita that all the living entities in different forms and species, I am the Father. The Father gives seeds to the womb of the mother for the child. And similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his mere glance, injects all the living entities into the womb of material nature. And they come out in their different forms and species according to their last desires and activities. All these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, take their different bodies according to their past deeds and desires. So the Lord is not directly attached to this material creation. He simply glances over material nature. Material nature is thus activated and everything is created immediately. Because he glances over material nature, there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Supreme Lord, but he has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. This example is given in the Smriti when there is a fragrant flower before someone. The fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person, yet the smelling and the flower are detached from one another. There is a similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he has nothing to do with this material world, but he creates by his glance and ordains. In summary, material nature, without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot do anything. Yet the Supreme Personality is detached from all material activities.
Thank you. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Omnita Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are continuing with chapter number 9, and so far we have seen Krishna begins the chapter by telling Arjuna that if someone who accepts, who understands this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, will be able to end the miseries of this material life. And in the very next verse, number 2, he says, Raja Vidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam, that this Bhagavad Gita is a king of education and also it's the most secret. And of course, then he continues to tell Arjuna that if one is unfaithful, right, if it's not faithful, then that person will come back into the cycle of birth and death. And finally, just before this verse that we took, Krishna tells Arjuna that he's a cause of all causes. Everything happens because of his will. And yet he is completely detached. Even though he's a creator, maintainer, annihilator, but yet he is detached. Now today's verse, Maya Dakshina Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam Hetu Nanina Kantaya Jagat Viparivartate. What a beautiful verse. He says that this material nature where we live in, which is one of my energies, is one working under my direction. Again, Krishna is emphasizing that he is the controller, he's the cause, and it is only by his will that everything happens. And he's saying they're producing all moving and non-moving beings, and under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Now, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains very nicely that Krishna is indicating here that even before he has indicated that he is a seed-giving father, right? Aham bija pradaha pita. Pita means father, pradaha pita. He is the supreme father. He is a seed-giving supreme father. And he is the one who gives us the form. So one may say that, oh, if Krishna is the one who grants us the body, then what is that based upon? That's based on our activities and our desires. That's why we've already learned, before Krishna says, Antakale chamam, at the time of death, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. Whatever we are thinking, whatever our desires are at the time of death, to that state we will attain without fail. So here it's explained that Krishna is giving us the form, but it is based on our own activities and our own desires. He is just granting our desires, whatever they may be. And of course, this material nature, as this verse indicates, cannot work without Krishna's superintendence. That is very, very important. Next verse, Krishna says, Avajananti mamudha manusham tanum ashritam. That fools deride me when I descend in the human form. Many times we hear people say that Krishna is Krishna is just a mythological character. It's just mythology. It's not that Krishna really came. It's not that Krishna is actually someone, who appeared 5,000. No, they don't believe in that. So here Krishna is saying that they are mudhas, they are grossly foolish. Fools deride me when I appear in the human form. Why is it said, excuse me, why is it said that man is made in the image of God, right? So if man has a form, obviously the one who is given the form has to have a form too, right? So the Lord has to have a form. But here the fools, they do not believe and they deride when Krishna comes in human form. He says, they do not know my transcendental nature as a supreme Lord of all that be. Again, he is declaring his supremacy, right? So what is that transcendental nature? He is Sat Chit Anand. His Vigraha, his form is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. That is Krishna's transcendental body, his transcendental nature. In fact, we also learned Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yo Veti Tattvaha Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mamiti Swarjana. If anyone, Krishna says, if anyone can understand the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities, you see, transcendental nature of appearance and activities, they do not come back into this material world. So here, of course, the devotees, they accept what Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita because they have faith, right? They have surrendered and they are progressing towards Krishna consciousness. That faith is very, very important. Of course, once one has the faith, then one has to build on it and make it very firm. Because unless the faith becomes firm, one starts dilly-dallying in spirituality. They, when they're on the spiritual path, they are not so firm. They may, fall off and they say, no, I am too young. I don't need to be spiritually inclined right now. I have a lot of things to do. When I grow old and if I have the desire and the time, I'm going to think about the Bhagavad Gita. No, the devotees, they have firm faith. Faith is very, very important. Talking about faith, I remember one story I had heard long time ago, that there was a milkmaid, the one who in India they carry cans of milk and they go from house to house and sell milk. So she used to, go about every morning to sell milk. And she was on one side of the village and she had to cross the river to go on the other side to sell her milk. And of course, for that, she had to go by boat. One day it so happened that the boatman had not arrived on time and she got delayed. And so by the time she reached one of the customers, who was actually a Brahmana, he was very upset. He was mad. He said, "What is this? I've been waiting for milk and you've come so late. What is the reason for you to be so late?" And she very humbly said, "I am so sorry, but the boatman had come late and so it delayed my coming here. I couldn't help it." So he said, "Oh, you told me that you worship Krishna and you have, so much faith in your God. Then why is it that you could not cross a river without a boat? I mean, if you have firm faith, then you should be able to walk on water. You don't have to wait for the boatman." The milkmaid didn't say anything. She, gave the milk, took the money, and she came back home. And the next day, she reached on time. And so the milkman, the customer, the Brahmana, he said, "Oh, you've come on time. So looks like the boatman was there on time." She said, "No, the boatman was again late." He said, "Oh, then how did you come?" She said, "You told me, have faith in Krishna and walk on water." And that's what I did. I walked on water and I came. He started laughing. He said, "I was just joking. What do you mean you can walk on water? There's no such thing." She said, "Yes, that is true." He said, "No." She said, "Yes." He said, "Okay, show me. Now you walk back to your village and show me." She said, "Sure. Why don't you also try it? Have faith in Krishna." And sure enough, they both went to the river to cross. And she just was holding her can of milk, and with full faith, she was chanting the holy name, and she started walking on water. She believed that just by meditating on Krishna, she can walk on water. She had that firm faith. Whereas the Brahmana, he tried to, first what we do when there's water, we touch our toes to see it's cold, or, what's the temperature of the water? Can I go in or not? Like you do that before going into the pool. So he was trying to put his foot, but he was not sure. He's like, "Oh, what if I, drown? Oh, what about my clothes? They're going to get wet. But still, I'm going to try. Let me see, So he had that, what you call a mentality of, like when you want to, uh, I don't know what's that word, when you want to check out something, you want to, you're doing it with an attitude, that let me see. What is that word called? I cannot remember that word now. Anyway, so he wanted to challenge. Yes, the challenging attitude. He had the challenging attitude. But guess what? He was trying to hold his clothes so they don't get wet, and zzz, he went down in the water. No faith. Where's the question of form faith? There was no faith at all that Krishna can do something like that. So here, Krishna is talking about those who do not have faith in him. They are actually foolish because they are wasting their human form of life in just eating, sleeping, having fun. They're not understanding the purpose of human form of life. They're not understanding what is the goal, how to reach the highest perfection. Now he continues in verse number 12, where he says, "Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated." You see? So again, he's talking about faith. So if one is faithless, one is bewildered, and one is deluded. And then there is no liberation and the person is defeated. What does Krishna mean by defeated? That means one is misusing this human form of life. One is not using it for the right purpose. It's only the human form in all the 8.4 million species of life, only human form where we have philosophical intelligence so we can understand who we really are, where have we come from, and where do we need to go, what is our goal. We are the ones who can understand that we should not waste our human form of life in just doing, something or nothing or whatever. Like especially now in lockdown, we are at home, can't go anywhere, cannot do anything. So what do we do at home? Look at the walls? No, right? That would be waste of time. Yes, we have been put in this condition because of bad karma. Why is this virus here? It's because of bad karma. Let's see, what does he say in verse 13? He says, O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. You see, again, those who are not deluded, that means they are using their intelligence, they are sharpening their intelligence with the help of knowledge, and they are considered great souls. And then Krishna says they are under my protection. Why? Because they are fully engaged in devotional service and they understand Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, they are considered like Mahatma. Mahatma means a great soul, right? They have no doubt whatsoever that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how do they become a Mahatma? It's not it's not a rubber stamp that, oh, okay, here on your forehead, you are a Mahatma. You are a Mahatma. No. It has to do with qualities, with qualifications and activities. And one can become a great soul in association with the devotees. When a person, awakens the Krishna consciousness which is dormant within our hearts, we are all parts of the Supreme Lord. We are all spiritual. Our soul is spiritual. But because we are conditioned, we are in this material body, we are in what it is called, we are encaged in this body, and so that's why we are unable to realize our true nature. But by performing devotional service, by chanting, by reading, by hearing, by associating with devotees, by eating prasadam, we can somehow or the other come to that stage where we can understand Krishna. Now, verse number 14 is a very beautiful verse. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dhridavritah namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Satatam means always. What does he say? Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. What beautiful. Again, he's talking about a great soul, a Mahatma. What are the symptoms of a Mahatma? They're always chanting. And they are endeavoring with great determination, right? That determination actually is needed for anything that we do. Supposing, excuse me, supposing I want to start a business. I want to invest a lot of money in it, right? I do some research and I start a business. But if I really want to be successful in that business, I have to be serious about it, right? There has to be some great determination. Yes, I want to succeed. This is the amount that I want to earn. This is my goal for the next 5 years. So there has to be some planning. There has to be some strategic planning. Only with great determination that step by step one can be successful in business. So also is in spiritual life. We have to endeavor with great determination. Understand from the Bhagavad Gita that this material world is dukhalayam ashashvatam. It is full of miseries and it's temporary. This is not our permanent home. We do not want to come back into this material world. And what does he say? Besides endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship. Perpetually worship means always, forever. It's not that, oh, like we say sometimes, I've heard people say, oh, today's Sunday, kitchen is closed. I'm not going to cook today. Let's go to a restaurant and eat, right? Today, no cooking in the kitchen, right? So, want to take a break. It's Sunday, it's a weekend, right? Do we ever say, oh, today's Sunday, let me take a break from breathing. I'm not going to breathe today, or I'm not going to sleep today, or I'm not going to eat? No, we don't say that, right? Because it is necessary, it is important. So also the devotional service should be perpetual. It should be on a daily basis, every day, forever. But these great souls, they perpetually worship me with devotion, right? So these are Mahatmas, great souls, not the rubber stamp Mahatmas, which we find a lot in India, where every nook and corner you'll see someone in saffron clothes with long hair or a long beard or something, pretending to be a great sage or a great personality. Some are, but most are not, right? Some are self-made gods, where they want to, like, they do that because they want to get some adoration from the public or some attention from the public. But here, symptoms of a great soul are given. What? That they are always chanting and they believe in the personality of Godhead, that Krishna has a form, and they are always engaged with firm determination. Now, Prahlad Maharaj has already given us 9 processes of devotional service, right? So we can start with the first one, which is Shravanam, hearing, and then we go to the next one, Kirtanam, which is chanting, and that will lead us to Smaranam, which is remembrance of the Supreme Lord, right? So not only what exactly does devotional service encompass? It includes chanting, reading, hearing, associating, eating prasadam, but also following the rules and regulations. That's important. What are the rules? There are 4 rules. No meat eating, fish, eggs, onion, garlic. No intoxication, tea, coffee. No illicit sex, and no gambling. So these are the 4 rules. If we do not follow these 4 rules, then our spiritual life does not have a good foundation. And of course, also fasting on special days, like next month in August is going to be Janmashtami, which is the appearance day of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So we fast on that day to celebrate that day. And fasting is an austerity. Of course, it is also good for the body as far as scientifically it's concerned. The body needs rest too. But the more important thing is to perform that austerity for the Supreme Lord. Just like Ekadashis come, Ekadashi comes twice in a month. So we must uh, give importance to it and fast. Fast in the sense, at least on Ekadashi, do not eat grains and beans. Avoid grains and beans. Just, um, eat fruits and vegetables. And that's not difficult at all. Because if we don't fast from grains and beans on Ekadashi, we incur a lot of sins, because the sins are placed in grains and beans on Ekadashi day. So it's very important that we follow certain rules. Let's go to verse number 15. Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse in many and in the universal form, right? This we are going to learn about the universal form in chapter number 11, where there'll be a lot more description. But here, Krishna is talking about different kinds of people. There are some who worship the universal form because they are mesmerized by that huge universal form of the Supreme Lord, where they see everyone inside. They see all the demigods in his body. They see fire, earth, water, everything, all living entities, everything in the body of the Supreme Lord. Right. So here Krishna is talking about different kinds of people. We've already learned in chapter 7, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, right? There are 4 kinds of pious people who surrender to Krishna, who come to Krishna. Now, in the purport, there's a nice description where Prabhupada explains that lower than these 4 kinds of people, there are 3 kinds. Those who worship oneself as a Supreme Lord, say, I am God and let me worship myself. That's the lowest. That is like a terrible thing, to say or do, that I am God. No. The second high, just above him, is the one who concocts a form of God. Concocts, right? And those who worship demigods. And then above that is those who worship the universal form of the Lord, which is beyond conception. It's hard to even understand the universal form. That's why Arjuna, we will see later on in 11th chapter, where Arjuna is telling Krishna, I don't want to see you of this form anymore. Please, please give up this universal form. I cannot stand it anymore. It is so huge and fearful, and it was disturbing Arjuna, so he did not want to see that form anymore. Now, from verse 16 onwards, we see Krishna is talking about his opulences just to show us, just to give us knowledge, so we can understand how great Krishna is. He says, I'm the rituals, I'm the sacrifice, I'm the healing herb, I'm the transcendental chant, I'm the father, I'm the mother, I'm the support. So he just goes on and on, he giving more opulences, that he's the object of knowledge, he's Om, he's the Vedas. And he also talks about that all living entities are my parts and parcels, they are my amshas, they are my parts. And again, he's repeating that I am the goal, I'm the master, I'm the refuge, I'm the witness, I'm the dear friend, I'm the sustainer, I create, annihilate, I am the seed, and I'm also the destination. Wow. So much he's explaining, but of course, this is just a speck of his opulences. It's impossible to talk about all the opulences of Krishna. That's beyond our conception. We cannot even understand them or even relate to them. But he's just giving us a glimpse of his opulences. But we have a choice. When he's saying, I am the destination, we still have a choice. What do we want to do? Do we want to make Krishna Loka, Goloka our destination or no? But he's continuing in more verses. He says, I give heat, I give rain, I give immortality. I am death personified. Prabhupada has said in one of his lectures that Krishna, he appears as death for devotees. He himself comes for devotees. Whereas those who do not believe in Krishna, those who do not worship Krishna, then they have to face the god of death, which is Yamaraj. So here he says, I am death personified, right? Everyone is in me. Everything is because of my energies. Wow. So he's explaining all this till verse 19. Let's read verse number 20. He says, those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. So he's talking about those who worship demigods. That is an indirect worship. They are doing it in a wrong way. Very nice 2 examples Srila Prabhupada gives is, one is watering the roots of the tree, right? No point watering the leaves and the flowers and the fruits separately. No, if you just water the roots, the whole plant, the whole, the fruits and flowers, everything gets nourished just by watering the roots. And of course, just like we feed the stomach. We put the food in the mouth that goes in the stomach, that gives energy to all the senses, to the whole body, right? We cannot separately, just take rice and put in the ears, and take some dal and put it in the nose. No, we don't do that, because that is not how we can satisfy or nourish the body. The best way is to feed the stomach. So similarly, there is no point in worshipping demigods separately. If we worship Krishna, then that is like watering the roots and feeding the stomach. Then all the demigods also get the uh, offerings that we make, the worship that we do. So it's important that we worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Lord, the seed-giving Father of all living entities. Now here in this verse, he's talking about taking birth in heaven. Enjoy, sure, for a long time, fine. But when the results are finished, when the good karma reactions are finished, then one has to return back into this material world. Why? Because demigods, they are just in charge of certain administrative duties given to them by Krishna. Like for instance, Lord Indra is in charge of rain. Sun god has to give the sunshine, the heat and light. And Varuna, which is the god of water, gives water. So they have certain duties, they are officers, they are in charge. But if one satisfies, just like a CEO of the company, if one satisfies the CEO, right, that means all others also get satisfied. So Krishna is the CEO of our life. Let's see what 21 I just explained to you. Let's go to 22. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. In the beginning, when I used to teach this, people used to get so excited and they would say, Krishna is going to give me what I don't have, and is going to preserve what I have. So I don't have, actually, I want a $5 million home, which I don't have, so Krishna can give me. That is what I lack. And what do I have? I have I don't know, which is the largest TV that's available, 60-inch, 80-inch, I don't know how many, whatever it is. I have that, and Krishna is going to preserve that. No, that's not what Krishna is talking about. He's talking about what he will preserve what we have. If we have determination, faith, sincerity, he's going to preserve that. And if we are lacking determination or faith, he is going to give it to us. So that we can progress in Krishna consciousness. So you see, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. This is a beautiful verse, number 22. Ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam bahamyaham. A beautiful verse. So he will carry what they lack, and I preserve what they have. Right? So of course, in the purport, very nicely Prabhupada explains that Krishna is the one who sanctions. He is the one who gives. He decides what do we lack, and he gives. And he decides what do we have that he preserves, right? Aham hi sarva yagyanam. Yagna means Lord Vishnu, which is Krishna. And we've already learned in chapter 3, Yagnarthat karmanyo natra loko yam karma bandhana, that work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. That is how we satisfy. Krishna says, I'm the only enjoyer. I'm the master of all the sacrifices. So we need to understand that we need to focus on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sacrifice our life for him. This life, this human form of life, is meant for self-realization. It is not meant for eat, sleep, and be merry at all. So if we do not recognize, then there is a chance of falling down, right? Right now, we are in a half-conscious state, half-conscious. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita, yeah, chanting, yeah, kind of, half conscious. That full consciousness has not come yet. I was listening to a lecture today where he was talking about being half conscious. He said there was a patient who was going to undergo surgery, and they had given him anesthesia, so he was kind of knocking out. And so the doctor came in, and as the doctor came in, he picked up the knife, to start the surgery. And this patient, he kind of became half conscious. So possibly the anesthesia didn't really work fully, so he was half conscious, and he could see that someone is coming with a knife in hand. So what he did, he punched the doctor in his nose because he was half conscious. He was not fully conscious, so he didn't recognize that, oh, this is the doctor and he's performing surgery which is for my good, right? So then afterwards, of course, then immediately the doctor said, okay, some more anesthesia, he needs to be knocked down completely so the surgery can be performed. That is our situation. We are half conscious, and that's why we are punching here, there, everywhere. We need to be fully conscious. Fully conscious means have the knowledge. Unless we have the knowledge, we will not be able to come out of this cycle of birth and death. We are in a situation like we are in a situation of course, in this material world, we have fallen down in this material world from the spiritual world. We have been sent here because of our activities, because of the way we have performed our karma. So we are here in this material world. Now, fallen down, supposing, I am walking and then I slip and I fall into a muddy puddle. There's a puddle of water which is very muddy, which is very dirty, and all my clothes and my face and my arms and my whole body, my clothes, everything is completely drenched in mud. What do you think I should do? Of course, I need to clean myself. I need to remove all that dirt. But what I do, I decide, let me go to the store and buy some new clothes, and I'm going to just wear those new clothes and everything will be fine. Will everything be fine? No. What about the body? The body still has all the mud, all the dirt. I need to remove that also, right? So, what do we learn from this? That the clothes are like this body that we have, and the body that is dirty is the heart that we have, the soul which is inside the body. So there's the soul and there's the body. So similarly, there's a body and there are clothes on top. So just changing bodies or changing clothes is not going to help. We need to purify our hearts also. We need to cleanse ourselves. We need to remove the conditioning. We need to shower. We need to shower with the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita so that we become purified. And that purificatory process begins, that shower that we take, to remove the dirt from the body, is chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is how we will purify our heart and remove the conditioning from the soul, so that next time we don't get another pair of clothes, another body. We just go back to the spiritual world. So I'm going to end here. We have done till verse number 22. If anyone has any questions. No questions? Okay, so we will stop and we will see you next Wednesday. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gita.